Hey everyone. I know you're all used to me coming up with these grandiose comedic intros, and well, this week I got nothing. And believe me, I tried. Writing is sometimes really difficult, you know? And
Liar.
excuse me?
I said you're a liar. Cut the bullshit, soldier. I've seen some pathetic and debilitating times back in Grenada, but you're making that seem like a walk through a forest fire.
Patrick, you didn't fight in the Vietnam War. You're just a character I created years ago. Oh, okay there, buddy. Yeah, he's just a made-up guy, just like the 3 pounds of meth I smoked last night just never existed. It is. You were in the same boat, Zach. Man, would you stop with that? You're bumming me the hell out. We've never seen you this pessimistic. What's the matter, filler? Cat got your dick? I don't know how to explain it.
Well, try, you little sack of shit.
Okay, fine. Being a voice actor is really enjoyable, but sometimes it's really tough to continue being original. Sure, I could just use a few voices for every character I audition for, but that just seems, I don't know, cheap. I've always wanted to keep pushing myself and really trying to be all that I can be. And some days, weeks even, I just don't even feel like trying. I run out of steam.
Listen, sweetie, can we hurry this sob story up? I got a very important bingo date with my girls.
Really? I guess that's what I get for trying to open up to someone.
Oh, relax, darling. You know I'm always here to listen.
Again, you are a figment of my imagination.
Well, maybe that's all you need.
And what happens when all of that is just gone?
I'm not sure I know what you mean there, sweetie.
Okay, let me try to put this simply. What am I supposed to do when all of my creativity bleeds out? Like, on top of acting or creating characters, I write. I write murder mysteries and intros for this podcast. And sometimes I just have nothing to contribute. I feel like I'm running on fumes from time to time, and it kills me a little bit inside. And even now, I should be working on this damned intro, but I can't think of anything entertaining to make.
You are highly underestimating your willpower. Even as you speak to us, you are creating a world for others to delve into.
Please, the last thing I need is a lecture from an alien who is obsessed with donuts.
I speak true. You continue to weave thoughts and ideas into this world that many others can't or won't. What about me? I am new character. You think I am, how you say, unoriginal? Or me? You wanted to create a villain that took the form of a toaster, and thus I was born. Or me. You have a project coming up that depends on me, bro. Tiger blood or not, I think I sound pretty fucking good.
Yeah, I don't think you can say tiger blood. I'm pretty sure that's copyrighted by now.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. Okay. What about, succeeding?
That's better? Jesus, you make friends with a lot of weirdos, filler. Anyway, point is, there will be times in your life where you're going to feel exhausted. Like nothing you say or do means anything. Like if you died tomorrow, no one would even notice. Is this supposed to be helping? I'm getting there. As I was saying, it's okay to feel this way. No one is perfect. Unlike Donut Creature over there or myself, you're only human. Inspiration isn't always going to stick around. That's why you strike while it's hot. Look at yourself right now. In the span of 3 weeks, you came up with 3 brand new characters. Over the past 6 months, you have written so many genius pieces of work. Hell, I'd bet my last gun on the fact that there are people out there that love what you do and look forward to seeing your next project. You know, speaking of which, can you imagine what it's going to be like when you put out that metal opera? me. If your brain had a dick, people are gonna be lining up to suck it. Oh God, I don't know if I can pull that off. That's going to be the downright largest project I've ever worked on, and I've only got 6 months to finish it.
Here, have a cigarette, honey.
I don't smoke anymore.
Well, then listen. It's going to be all right. 6 months is more time than you think. I mean, look at me. I'm 81 years old and still kicking.
Christ, someone call a medic for this smoke bag. I think what she is trying to say is you can make great things happen by keeping calm and not overreacting. Do you think I could have slipped into an enemy encampment in the middle of the night and slit 11 men's throats if I hadn't kept myself calm? You're damn right I couldn't, and I resent the fact that you may or may not have conceived that notion!
Okay. I think I get it. I know the future may seem bleak at times, but as long as I put my best foot forward and recognize the things that I create, then everything will be okay? Yeah, something like that. Just remember, buddy, no matter what happens, we are always there for you.
You are strong, and nothing can break that. We got your back, sweetie. Always.
I was dishonorably discharged from the military for heinous war crimes against humanity! I just here for free vodka.
Oh shit! The podcast is starting soon, and I have no intro written. Yeah, I think you do there, fella. I do? I mean, of course I do. Psh, I had that shit written days ago.
Settle down, youngin'. You couldn't have done this without us.
Yes, but I made all of you. Did you? Yeah. None of you exist. Are you sure? 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 Zamoody, can you start the show now, please?
I gotcha.
For the love of God, please start the show. Start the show.
Are we sure?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Well played. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you may be. Welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. I know I bumped up the audio there a bit, so let me go ahead and turn it down. Orange, I know we're getting a bit of bleed through on your side. I think,
Yeah.
something's coming through. I'll
There we
turn you
go.
down a little bit. Thank you.
It's probably a plane.
No
If I
worries.
hear another one coming over, if I'm talking, and if I'm not talking and I hear one coming over, I'll mute.
No worries. So welcome to you, whether you are here live or whether you're watching us on YouTube or anywhere that you get your podcasts. Welcome to Cold Read. Thanks for being back. The second episode of the second season. Great intro by Eldurrino. Welcome back
Yay.
to Renara.
Hi, everyone. I'm back.
We have yet to have our full team for season 2, but we're hoping for next time that will absolutely happen. As we do with every particular week, I would like to take an opportunity to check in with our team and see how we're doing. So, Renara, how has your week
Hi,
been?
everyone.
Hi.
It's been I really feel your intro today, Eldurrino, because I have felt the exact basically what you've just covered in your intro. I've been feeling all week. It's been sort of the thing of just like, oh, I feel rubbish. I don't feel creative. I feel like I'm not doing all of those things because everything's kind of going a bit slowly. I've had my second jab, so I am now fully vaccinated against everything. I think I'm still feeling a little bit of it. I feel really tired, so I am here, I'm running, doing a thing. I'm present. About 75% of my brain is present, right?
Yay! I will take 75%. So thank you.
Yay. But yes, no. Continue.
Normally we go with Pashley. Pashley's currently on vacation and out visiting family. So we're introducing Orange Glad for season 2. Hello,
Yay.
Orange. How has your week been, sir? You're muted, by the way.
Things have been going okay. It's just work has been a little all-consuming this week.
Yes. No, I understand. I had the great opportunity to sing with Orange. I think it was Friday that we did it. Yeah, Friday night. Eldurrino popped in for a song or two. That was great. We hadn't done that in such a long time. For those
Did
of,
I miss
Scared the
karaoke?
crap
God
out of
damn it,
everyone.
Damn it.
well, you were probably asleep, so
Likely, yeah.
yeah, we were
It
trying
was
to
probably
figure.
like 6 or 7 in the morning for you.
Hey,
I
look,
would have woken up for karaoke.
there's Pashley. Hey, Pashley, look at these
Hey,
DJs.
Bash.
But yeah, for those of you that don't know, Orange Juglad is a professional clown. You've done some voice acting in the past, and we love to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Honestly, Eldurrino, love the intro. We'll talk about that in a second. How has your week been?
It's been a little stressful in that I talked about one of the projects that I was auditioning for and that I was kind of struggling with the like casting person about how to deliver it properly. And so in an attempt to kind of research it a bit more to get more of like an audio drama narration voice, I went back and I started listening to some of the episodes of this audio drama, and it is a fiction for adults, but it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Right.
I don't really like the way that it's written much. Like I don't want to get into specifics, but it makes like the topic itself normally would be okay because I can handle a lot really, but just the way that it was presented was not only cringe, but it was also really like it gets under your skin, and maybe that's the point. I don't know, but I don't know if it's something that I want to tie my name to.
Right.
And so so I have been trying to figure out whether or not I want to proceed with that project, because I was already cast for a role in their subsequent project that hasn't started yet. And then again, they wanted me to do another role on top of that, and so I'm kind of like, I'm going to think it through very thoroughly before I decide to start recording lines. So that really kind of put me in a negative mindset this week, and that's kind of where the intro this week came from. Is I thought about last week how I was talking about, you know, what happens when I run out of creativity, or, you know, why is there days in which I don't feel like doing anything. So kind of just needed to get that out there, but I still try to make it funny at the same time. So good news though, I started talking with the other guy about the like alien project thing. And so he gave me a couple like reference points. One of them, he said he wanted me to look into Hunter S. Thompson. For those who don't know, is a reporter that was pretty big back in the 70s, I guess. And so I started researching it, and I sent him an email. I was like, hey, you know, do you want the voice to sound like this, you know, based on what I've been watching from him? And the guy was like, dude, you are amazing. Like, nobody that I've worked with before has ever gone out of their way to do research on or for a character. So like that's amazing to me. So that made me feel real good. Like I was like, yeah, like I take all my roles very seriously. So, you know, if you have a reference for me, I will absolutely look into it so I can get an idea of what you're looking for. So that was good. I recorded the lines that I needed to, and that was the Charlie Sheen sounding voice that I used in the intro.
The tiger drink thing?
For those who didn't understand the joke there, Charlie Sheen is famous for saying winning. So I just changed that to succeeding. So a little bit of good news, a lot of thought over this week as to where I'm going to go with these projects. But with that being said, I'm excited to move on with this other project, the Alien one, and then I'm gonna start probably pumping out some more auditions, and I believe I'll hear back about that YouTube series at the end of this upcoming week.
Mhm.
So
Hey. Good.
hopefully that goes somewhere. I really hope it does.
Yeah. As JK Fighter 4 Alt 1 in chat says, Happy Father's Day to anyone here that's male with children. Thank you. That would qualify as me. I appreciate it as we're recording this on Father's Day itself. Where I've been recovering still from my shoulder surgery. I actually made it into the booth. I think it was Tuesday. I was in there for quite some time doing auditions. I got on the short list for some stuff, but really didn't get anything. But I'm still kind of in my slump. I've been in my slump now since I did my last intro, so it's been like a month, and I have not gone and really done much because I've been off for 3 weeks now, and I was using this. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to live like what it would be to actually do this as a career. And in all honesty, I didn't really go down that road. I've got 4 projects on top of me that I really need to get stuff done on it, and I've not been motivated to do it. So I'm hoping tonight that will do. Fire and Brimstone surgery really went well. They didn't do as much as they needed to do in there, so my recovery is pretty much complete. I go back to work on Monday. So yeah, so that's where I am with that. I'm hoping that work will kind of motivate me. My session with Orange on Friday singing really did help re-motivate me, I think. So that was actually very exciting. So I'm gonna do some stuff today. I've got the DC audio drama that I'm doing for an individual who I will not name, and then I've got an MLP thing. I got feedback from one of my voices.com jobs that they're still looking for something a little different, so I need to do that. I need to re-record that, and I've got a deadline, so I got to work within that. And then I still have the Tetris lines that I just have not been able to get in there and do. On the creative side, I got into doing these TikToks in relations to Dead by Daylights in kind of a documentary style thing. I'm enjoying doing that, so I'm kind of leaning into that right now, and we'll see what happens with those.
I've been watching your shorts on YouTube, Zamoody.
Yeah, those are basically, it's the same thing. I've been spreading them out. Yeah. So that's
I
been.
say continue, do more. They're funny.
Thank you. Now, and like I said, I relate to your intro, Eldurrino, because I've been in this mindset that I can't get out of, and I don't know why.
There's something in the air. I could blame Jupiter in retrograde if I wanted to, but I think it's not just that.
No, it's a summer thing.
I've been in the same place. I haven't streamed in almost 6 weeks just because it seems so utterly ridiculously pointless to do so. So I just haven't. And trying to break out of that has been a real struggle.
Yeah. I think for me, I started seeing some more success with my voice acting, and then all of a sudden, like, that feeling just became overwhelming. And then I started realizing the problems that came with that. Time management and whether or not I feel like I'm a good fit for the role, or if it's something I actually want to tie my name to. And it's debilitating. It brings you down and makes you not even want to try. I mean, granted, I love doing auditions. I love creating characters. But yeah, there's just those days in which I wake up and I want to get in the booth, but I can't bring myself to do so, just because, like I said last week, my brain is one of my biggest drawbacks. I limit myself a lot for what seems like no reason at all. But yeah, there's, tiny little things that happen throughout life that just, put a wall up.
And you've got something there, because the more success that you see, the more you're scared of failure.
True. Yeah.
Right, I can relate in a weird way because I've recognized it in myself now, and it's something that has happened throughout my life, in that every time somebody has complimented me or said, "Oh my God, how are you able to do this? I don't know how you do it." I'll have this short thing of like, "Oh, yay," and then go, "Oh my God, how am I managing to do this?" Right. And then so all of a sudden you start to feel the weight of everything, and that's when it's kind of like, ah. And I had that with my project recently, and I've just realized, right, I just need to slow everything down to a snail's pace now, because I have a 3-way conversation I have to deal with and possibly need to do retakes. Oh my God. So
yeah, I think, oh, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No.
I was just gonna say.
All right, Dorino first.
Mine's quick.
Dorino first.
I feel like for me it was like, you know, I had done a couple of very short projects that took me a few days to finish, and then I was done. You know, and then all of a sudden I had this guy contact me about something that we were going to do much later on. I had another role that was cast for. I had on top of that a role that they wanted me for that was huge. And then I had that interview with that guy, and he's like, you know, I'll contact you in 2 weeks to talk about it. So it's like, you know, I went from kind of, you know, being on the jettison upward a little bit to just a sheer jump straight up, you know, and I guess it's starting to become overwhelming. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I have to kind of adjust myself and get used to.
I mean, that's how child actors crash and burn. It's the immediate just shoot straight up, and you got to sometimes slow it down a little bit, I think. And that's what I've learned at the very least, and that was kind of what I was tacking on. So.
And it's funny because everybody tells you you've got momentum, push on, keep going. And I think that's because I mentioned this before. I started doing really well in voices.com. I started getting reviews. I started getting more shortlists. I got a couple jobs. I'm in a couple video games. And then all of a sudden my brain is like, what the hell are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this shit. You're wearing 4 hats. And you've got these projects and you've got these commitments and you've made these commitments and you get this feedback and it's like, okay, I did my fucking best. It wasn't enough. Where am I going to dig this out from?
Burnham has a good point in chat.
Burnham in chat. Yeah, I've heard that before. For people with depression, that said, we don't get the same dopamine hit for completing tasks. So we don't associate completing a task with the reward of feeling good. 100%.
Yeah, not wrong. I also, I'm in some ways a perfectionist, especially when it comes to my own work. And so I never feel like the stuff that I'm doing is enough. You know, like I always want to just sit there on one thing and just redo it over and over and over and over. And even when I find that I'm satisfied with it, I'll go back a few days later and I'm like, this is terrible. What was I thinking? You know, like, and it's so stupid, like to be that way, but it's just part of who I am.
I'm the exact same way with the intros that I made for season 1 now, because I'm now linking everything that I made for season 1 together in a video. So because I started, because I said I would. It's so close to being finished, but then I go back and listen to the first one I ever made, and I went, oh god, because
I don't know. I think it's good.
I loved your figure.
But the external, that's the thing. Externally, you guys are witnessing it in a different way to how I'm witnessing it. And so for me, I just feel cringy because I'm like, it's more the case of, I called it cold reads. There's some pops in there. The audio levels were, there's minor small little things that to the average listener probably would hear it. But for me, the perfectionist on that part, I'm just, oh god. But in the interests of archiving things, I haven't changed anything. I have not changed anything other than the music that got copyrighted. But that's the only thing. I'm trying to do a thing of, hey, this is where one starts, and this is how one progresses, and this is how I have done this, so
this
people can
journey.
see that. Yeah, everyone's journey, really, because it sort of grew into this massive thing that I've now created, and now I feel oddly, slightly overwhelmed of, oh god, where am I taking this next? What the hell do I do now?
I know that bar is still over by Mars, so I understand. Catching up with chat.
Pull it down a bit.
Yeah. Walter says, I was dabbling with auditions and getting that feedback, which is why I sought out a coach. And I've been talking to Walter about getting him on the show to talk about his coaching experience, because I'd love to hear how that works out, how that's going. So soon, hopefully, we'll get that, and we'll get Walter on the show, and we're just waiting for kind of the pieces to fall together, and then that'll work out. Burnham in chat says, I really struggle with starting work. I don't get the motivation enough to overcome the fear of failure. I understand that. I really do.
Yeah, I think we all do, really.
Yeah.
It's much easier to not do something knowing that that's a failure than to put it all on the line and fail.
It's the certainty that provides comfort, and the uncertainty that goes, oh god.
100%. Well, that's where we all are, and we will work through it, hopefully, and we'll find, but we do have a topic for this week. So Let's pivot
It's
over.
not depression,
It is
folks.
not.
No,
We've
it's
already
not.
done those.
We're transitioning from the sad stuff into the happy stuff where we talk
Yeah.
about constructive things.
We're all in the same boat today, I feel.
Burnham agrees with you wholeheartedly. Orange says, "Good point, Orange. You glad?" So this particular week, we scoured Twitter, and YouTube, and we found some VO reels, and we're gonna take an opportunity to take a listen to them. I'm recording this part, and we're gonna send them those pieces. Just if they need our I'm sure they're not asking completely for constructive feedback, but this is what they're getting. This because I'm trying to show this to everybody who's listening or anybody who's watching. We're here to help. We're here to listen. We are not professionals. We may have gotten paid for a project here and there, but sometimes you want to hear another point of view, and you're too afraid to ask. So we're just going to give it to you.
You didn't ask for it, but here you go.
Yes, but here you go. So, I'm not going to go in any particular order. So I'm going to start with Crystal Martinez. Hopefully that's what's showing up on your screen over there.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
Oh, I love her character already. I'm sorry, but the art for that is adorable, and I love it. Sorry.
It's quite all right. Let me go ahead and show it then, because you did mention it. So here it is. Here's what we're looking at, and this is the art that Renara is talking about. All right, here we go.
It's so sweet.
Sir, if I may, these paintings are more than just plebeian decor. They're visual constructs of passion and beauty, all of which are showcased with just a few brushstrokes. They're practically timeless.
Listen, kid, I couldn't care less about your feelings. You're here to do a job. If your emotions get in the way again, I'll personally escort you to the first vessel out of here.
Excuse me. Listen, you might be a bit charming, but this is neither the place nor matter to execute that sort of... So sorry. Flirtatious behavior. I can do this by myself.
Ay, mijo, por favor. A wrong answer isn't the end of the world, you know. Part of education is accepting that there's something to learn in the first place.
You need to embrace that journey.
It's okay. I'm happy to do it. I swore I'd use my gifts to help others. If that means putting myself in the line of fire, then I'll gladly do so. You heard of the beast in these waters. I've seen it myself. A shell made of sailors' bones, eyes crimson and thirsty for blood. You'd be wise to stay to your quarters tonight.
All right, there it is. 1:39 for those of you that are wondering. So that was a minute
Dear
and 39
God.
seconds. First off, I will note I liked the way it was put together. I like the music. I had a problem with the accent now, and the reason I can say that is because I'm terrible at doing Hispanic accents, even as a Hispanic, and I can hear it. I wouldn't have chosen that particular one myself. So that's definitely something I would go back and say you may want to look into that or research it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say the same thing because in that particular instance, the first few words almost sounded Irish to me.
I also
now
got
you say
Irish.
that, yeah.
You know, because
Well,
most of us are going,
wasn't the last one supposed to be like Irish, or
No,
were
I
you
think
talking
the
about
last one was-
the middle one?
We're talking about the middle one where she
Spanish
actually
accent.
spoke Spanish and then moved into an English Spanish accent.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I agree with Walter in the sense of I like her stuff too, and that that's just that one thing missing. But I feel like there's not enough. Is it just me? Or there's not enough variety in that they all sounded very similar. Or at least for me, there was one or two that you could pick out. Oh, like the tough girl sounding one,
Yeah.
which I loved. I loved two
that was a
pieces.
good one.
Ah,
That was excellent.
that was brilliant. But a lot of them, it is that thing of either one. They all seemed a bit too loud. Or that just might be
That
my
might
ears.
have been. That could have been. Yeah, the way everything was coming through.
But it did seem like a little bit cookie cutter in that there was a base that she's comfortable with and she's kept going with that and added bits on top of it, if you know what I mean.
This strikes me as an animation reel. So
Yeah.
she's doing a lot of over-the-top type characters. I would love to hear her do a straight character, especially one who's suffering from, say, depression, talking about,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, where she's talking about her day-to-day dull, colorless existence, but making it not, monotonous or
The dynamic range is not.
Right.
It's hitting a ceiling, I think, is what that is. It's very much the same, like Walter said, forced. It seems like she's forcing quite a lot of it. So there's no. I'd like to hear maybe like a softer, like calmer, like sadder, maybe one who's dealing with depression sort of thing. I think because it keeps hitting that ceiling. There's high energy in all of them, and maybe we needed some sort of just a sort of softer, subtly. If that's not what the reel was meant for, if she made it specifically for sort of like an anime reel, that's I think really good for like an anime animation reel. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I should say, since we should also be quite praiseworthy, is her diction was impeccable. I understood every word she said.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Super important too.
Right.
Bruno says lots of breathiness too, which works for some roles. Absolutely.
I would say I agree with. I think as far as like showcasing the range that her voice has in different parts was great, but within those certain parts, there wasn't a whole lot of variance.
Yeah.
You know, like you have one that's kind of like, you know, a bit on the lower end as far as the tough girl goes, and then one that's really high up. But you don't hear any like. You don't hear that much or that many different inflections within those specific roles. So I think a little bit of variance there would help bring those specific parts or make them a bit brighter, make them stand out a bit more.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like a lot of it was very, while the diction was great, like Orange was saying, you can understand every single word that she's saying. Very clear, very concise. I felt like a lot of the parts were very quick, very just kind of shotgunning them out basically, except for the last one. And the reason that I believe that maybe that one was slower was because maybe she wasn't comfortable with that accent fully. To the point where you can kind of, get it out fast. Seemed like she was a lot more comfortable with the previous character as opposed to the very last one. Not certain, but obviously I know you want it with a demo reel. You want to try to showcase as much as you can within a short time frame. So I understand wanting to kind of spitball out everything as quickly as you can, but just a tad slower, I think, on a couple of those parts would have been nice, I guess. I don't know. That's just my opinion. This was an
animation reel because of the rapid fire diction language. Especially if you're dubbing, you have 10 seconds to fit 50 words, and so you have to get very good at enunciating quite clearly. But you have also end up, and it doesn't matter. You look at anything that comes out of Viz or Funimation or anything like that, you're going to see and hear a lot of very, very fast English, just because they have to squeeze all that in. So she's definitely got that style going, and if that's what she's intending this reel for, is to get roles in dubbing anime, I think she's definitely got that skill down.
Yeah. And whoever edited it, that was seamless flow from one to the other. Seamless. Oh, sorry.
Only note I would probably have in the editing part would be to tone down the music a little bit more so the voice is more prominent.
Right.
It's good to have music.
I'm a fan of music, so
it's good to have music, but you have to understand you're not selling the music, you're selling you.
Yeah.
Personal opinion.
Right. Yeah, or even just tweak some of the frequencies within the voice, lower the music volume just a tiny bit, and the sound effects as well. Because I mean, the voice is the purpose. You want that to shine through above everything else. Everything else that you're putting in there, sound effects, music, etc. That's all just to help set the scene. But you want people to, as soon as they hear your voice, they should latch onto it immediately. And I feel like it was all kind of, relatively the same volume.
Great. I will clip that and pass that on. Thank you, everybody. Now for those of you that are watching, if you right click on the screen, I believe there should be an option to turn down the volume if needed for what I'm sharing. So keep that in mind.
Okay. Oh yeah.
let's look at Mr. Edward Saba, VO. Let me bring that up.
Oh yeah, I think I followed this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we will share him over here as well. And let me get this together. 3, 2, 1.
Actually, in the special digital deluxe platinum complete edition, the Elfin Queen dictates that she prefers a company of men and women. Get your factoid straight, you nerd. I see you've been eyeing that sword for quite some time, stranger. And seeing how you're in dire need of equipment for your journey, I'd be willing to lend it to you. For a price, of course. Do you even know who I am, peasant? I am the soon-to-be, high-esteemed Prince Regent Royal Lordship Manus von Dukum of Somniac Kingdom. And I demand that you respect me as such, underling.
And as you can see, we're merely just a few years away from destroying our very ecosystem and dying a slow, painful death.
I gotta admit, seeing you stand up to that guy like that was pretty stupid. But not everyone around here stands up to bullies like that, so thank you. Fear not, citizens! With my sacred bow and our strength united, we can overthrow this accursed army. Now, stand with me, men! Stand with me and fight!
That's it for that one.
I think I would say similar in the sense of I think the music and the sound effects were quite loud in that, to be honest, and it kind of drowned him out a little bit on occasions.
There was a similarity, I think, and again, frequencies that Dorino's talking about. If the music that you're using is very similar to your voice, it kind of just melds together and it doesn't separate it. Going to Orange's point, the diction was not as crisp as we heard it on Miss Martinez's one, in my opinion. Although that might have been part of the characters on some of them. I think that could have been tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
I felt like a lot of the characters in there, you could understand based on the scripts what type of character they were going for, but I felt like almost all of those voices were the same.
Yeah.
Very
yeah.
Kind of like the younger kind of kid, young adult. Yeah. Which, that's a good thing to have. That thing for me personally is hard to pull off. Like my voice is deeper and more in my throat than it is up in my nasal cavity. But I feel like a lot of them were very very similar. Not enough projection. I feel like, especially in that last or second to last one, maybe the last one, where he was talking about stand up and fight. Yeah, just putting all your breath into your diaphragm and expelling it on that last line would really help bring that to life, because it sounded quite flat in my opinion. I feel like if you really project, give it more emotion, like that can really help bring it or set it apart from something like the first one where it was kind of like the nerdy kid thing,
I feel like they haven't done, or at the very least, they're not doing enough physical acting to go with their lines, or they're not really doing much in the booth by the sounds of it. It feels like they've just sat down, they've looked at the script, and they've kind of done a bit into the character, and they've gone for it as best they can in that regard. And there's not enough. There's not enough extra small bits to bring those lines to life. Yes, but maybe the voice is what the director wanted in those projects for him, but putting them next to each other, they do, like you said, Dorino, they sound very similar. Like there's a couple that I thought were the same character and I got a bit confused. But yeah, no, I agree in that there's not enough. It's those extra little tweaks to enhance the performance. Yes, I like it. I actually did like the sort of like the tour guide, as you can see, because I haven't heard that one before. I think, and the only reason I think that one stood out to me was because it was so different from the rest of them. It was still a similar way of speaking, but it was a different tone of speaking, and it was fun, and it was interesting, and it was funny. which is why it stood out for me. So
I would actually think that that one may have gone a little too long, in my opinion, because it was great for the first couple lines, but I think as it dragged on, I was like, okay, let's move on. Let's get it to a different voice.
Yeah. I was expecting maybe something else to have, like, if you're gonna have it that long, make sure it's like stuff is happening in the line, perhaps, if you're gonna have it long like that, not just about like 10 seconds of the same stuff.
Right.
Yeah. And that was, so with that one in particular, I enjoyed that. Like I snickered at it because it was, you know, it's droll and it's different from all the other parts that he had featured in there. But I think what brings your attention to it is the fact that everything else is similar. But I have to agree that I think it is a bit slow and it's again very flat, you know, like, as you can see, we are approaching blah blah blah, you know, it's basically just reading directly off the page. Like just thinking about someone who's sitting at a desk, you know, being bored out of their mind, you know. Like, as you can see, we are approaching the blah da 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 da. Like, you can even in that kind of droll monotone voice, you can add more emphasis just by you know, widening your mouth a little bit, adding some sighs and there are groans and whatnot. So I feel like that one in particular, like I like the idea of having a very monotone and monotone and dry voice, but you got to add something in there to, you know, make it listenable, make people want to listen to that more, you know, because I don't know, I find those type of characters hilarious, you know, people who are just kind of like, whatever, life is meaningless. Like that stuff is funny to me, you know, and like just I don't know if I could listen to that for very long personally.
It's the acting side of thing, unfortunately, and I don't want to be too mean, but I don't think it is very much, it's more they're just reading from a script rather than acting the script. And this is me being kind of slightly savage, I apologize, but it's also the thing of like, hey, if you don't point it out, how can people get better? It does feel very much like they've done looked at the script, they've read the script, and then they've given the lines in, sort of thing. Like Eldurrino, you did a very good job of showing the difference, I think, is a good idea. And stuff. So
and like for anyone listening or watching this, we're not, when we say these things, we're not trying to be hard on you by any means. We're doing our best to give you constructive criticism. So, you know, take what we say with a grain of salt. Again, we're not professionals by any means, but, you know, a number of us do have experience in acting and theater and production. And
I've been told. I've been told straight to my face on occasions, like, you did, like, hey, you don't sound like you're acting in this part of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. But you can get that. And maybe like my little bit of advice probably is, if maybe just, I'm a massive fan of acting of moving in the booth, because I do it all the time. So whatever you're doing, just do something in the booth whilst you're doing it, because that might trigger something in your voice. Because hey, if you're throwing something, sometimes it's difficult to emulate that without throwing something, sort of thing. So I would say moving forward, for them to possibly do a bit more physical stuff in the booth to get them to get their voice to sort of do things that maybe they didn't think of.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Renara's piece of advice for the day.
And that bit there about, oh, it didn't even sound like you were acting. It should never sound like you're acting.
Yes.
Sorry.
So, at least for me, it should, you know, you know, there's a, when you're, especially in voice acting, there's a sound that I call conspicuous acting, where it's a particular cadence and a particular rhythm where you can tell this person is either reading or has not, you know, is not particularly comfortable with what they're doing. So it becomes very conspicuous that they're acting rather than they're just saying, you know, what could be, you know, considered normal speech. But we should move on to the next person.
I feel bad now. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We've got folks to get through here.
I know.
Well, we're gonna get through as many as we can, and then we can hold this for another time. So we're gonna listen to Nate Lynn, who has one up on YouTube. So let me bring this up. And Hopefully y'all can still see that. Here we go.
Hello, my name is Nate Lynn. My pronouns are they, them, and this is my voiceover demo reel. Please enjoy. Come on, they're not so tough. We can take them. What's with all this hullabaloo? Bow down before the rightful heir. I was only trying to help. I didn't mean for anyone to die. I've been running cattle up and down these hills for as long as I can remember, and I ain't ever seen something like that. Hey, you. Yeah. You got any snap peas? I'm sorry. I did the best that I could. Please, forgive me. Whoa! Hey, this is my raft. Find your own piece of driftwood. Oh my god, can you believe how expensive this roast beef was? Oh, dude, no need to get your vibes frazzled. Just relax, and the ocean will take care of you. You might think you have the upper hand, but you're wrong, bucko. Dead wrong. Did you hear, Pop? The festival's in town. Oh, gee, Pop, I'd really love to go to the festival.
Okay.
Right. Okay. I actually quite liked that one.
Okay.
But there was quite a few little things that I think were dragging it down. One was the slating at the beginning confused me greatly.
Yes. Okay.
And
So let's stop there for a second.
Okay.
Voiceover demo reels. You sent it to somebody. They know who you are before you they even listen to it. Do not slate a voice reel.
No.
Absolutely. And in most things, unless they request that you slate your name and the character you're doing, do not slate ever.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Continue, Renara.
And I think the second thing was the background noise I could hear at the beginning and end of every single one. In that, this was obviously, I think, this is his first go at this. I really enjoyed the range of the voices we got. I think that was a really good demonstration of, at least for a first one, like what he could do. Mm-hmm. His diction wasn't as good in a few of them, which is annoying because I would have, like, from a directing standpoint, I would have gone, oh, maybe it's enough to pique my interest, but not enough to. It was just it was that a little bit of annoying that I couldn't quite hear everything in all of them, if you know what I mean.
Agreed.
Right.
I'm gonna go before you two go. I'm kind of curious what Orange would want to throw in on this one.
This one's hard for me just because I can tell that he's very new to this. There was one that was borderline offensive to me.
Okay.
Because I spent a lot of time on the East Coast going to college, and he would be considered a borderline Yiddish accent. So to me, that was almost offensive. The oh my god, but he was overdoing it, and it was, having known a lot of people who speak that way normally, it felt almost caricaturish. So again, that's just me and the fact and my upbringing and my experiences, which put me there. Another reaction I had is oh god, old man voice. Ugh.
What do you mean? You did not like the old man voice?
Yeah, and we've had this discussion before where it's just like, why do people always think that old men all sound like this? I've never met an old man who sounds like this. And so every time I hear a very young actor do that, to me, it's very cringeworthy. Again, this is just me. This is just my own reaction.
This is good.
This is good stuff.
So, and the overemphasis on what I thought was a bit overblown. When I've seen that done in like a film or something, you can tell they're going what, but he went what, like
a lot more phlegm than needed to be in there.
Doing it. Yeah. It's like, are you clearing your throat? What's going on here? But Yeah, but again, to as Renara said, he did have a very wide range of parts. And there was one instance of the conspicuous acting that I talked about, which was when he was saying, you know, I did the best that I could.
Yeah.
You know, that could have been toned down and just been like, I did the best I could.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You know, and it was just felt a lot more like I'm acting and reading off this script. Oh my gosh, I did the very best that I could. You know, and it was a little melodramatic. That's the word that I should be using.
Yeah.
It was a little too melodramatic. So it depends on what kind of role he might be trying for. So he may want to consider in future splitting out some reels, having a general reel and having one for animation, one for commercial work, you know. So if he wants ones that's not so melodramatic, like, you know, my wife makes the best coffee in the world, you know, something that sounds like completely conversational for commercials, something like that. He might want to consider doing that down the line.
Completely agree. From a technical point, I would say you want to throw in some music in there, especially if you have a room that's not so treated. It could help hide a lot. Because I know, like, for example, I've got the AC on, and I know I'm buzzing like crazy, but otherwise it's going to get really hot. If I was about to record, I would turn that thing off.
Yes.
So that's something to keep in mind. Anything else that you'd like to add? Yeah, go ahead.
I have to agree. Room treatment is something that comes later on down the line. I mean, even my first auditions, you know, were in a completely untreated room, and you probably weren't even heard, but you know, that's a whole part of the thing. When it comes to a demo reel, though, you want it to be your absolute best that you can provide. So I do hope that in the future you consider making a new demo reel that has a bit more clarity to it, not as much reverb in the background or background noise, etc. I think this is a person that really just enjoys doing different characters, which I completely respect. I love doing my own characters as well. And I think that's a very good starting point as far as being a voice actor goes. But a lot of them didn't really sound like they were a fully fleshed out character. It kind of felt like, oh, I know how this kind of person sounds. I'm going to read a sentence in that type of accent or that type of voice. And so that makes it like disingenuous, essentially.
I was just going to say,
sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm butting in. Don't worry.
No, say what you're gonna say.
Oh my gosh, you too.
Okay, I was just gonna add to that in the sense of, it sounds like he's just he's written his own lines rather than these came from projects he did. So I would say, at the very least, because before making a demo reel, have some projects behind you that you can put in, because then it sounds more professional in that way. And it's also something people can then go and find and see, oh, yes, this is something they did, rather than just coming up with small bits. I think I can see why he's done this. He wants to be able to show what he can do straight off the bat. Look, this is what I can do. But I think you want to have that backlog of just a little bit of experience behind you first, so that when you do start sending out a demo reel, then you kind of aren't going to be shocked with what you're going to get back, if that makes sense. It's getting off the ground, walking, not running.
Well, yeah, and I think it's definitely it's a matter of quality over quantity. This was clearly the reverse, and was more like, I'm going to show everyone how much I can do. Whereas I feel like with demo reels, in order to really kind of secure your place, you want it to be, 5 to 6 or even 7 maybe parts that you've focused on and have been doing for what seems like years, or maybe even your entire life. So I think maybe take some of those voices and think about how you can improve them, and then re-record them and give each of them their own little, moment of, like you have a dramatic reading of something, or someone that is on their deathbed, and then you have like a more humorous one, or then you have, like a childlike one. Give it a lot more variance, but still keep it, condensed down to specific roles that you have worked on for quite some time. And I think that will really help bring your reel to life, and will be a lot more of an asset to you in the future.
Yeah, agreed.
I absolutely agree with that, and hopefully you take that information and move forward with it. And now, Renara, when it comes to, you've heard my character reel. My character reel is actually something that we wrote. We actually recorded it live while we were streaming months and months ago. So I when it comes to whether or not to put projects in, it's a lot easier for you to put in your own stuff because you don't have to ask for permission for it. Let's do a couple more. So we'll do Miss Rachel Lee. Rachel Lee is again a VO. She's from her YouTube channel. So we're gonna put this out here, and hopefully this will come through. And curiously taking notes. Good, Burnham. And Kevin Mason, drop in what you want to say. All right, here we go.
Ooh, that sparkle! It's just telling me to buy it. There's no way that someone like you could not hold their liquor. Am I right?
Oh, you poor thing. Don't be scared. I promise I won't hurt you. Come here.
Come out, wherever you're hiding.
Here I am.
Ghost! Thank you for being okay. I won't let it end like this. One last time.
Okay.
I'd cast her.
That's an animation reel. That is an animation reel.
I love the fact that she put in like an actual like attack in there.
Yes.
I loved that because that shows that she knows how to do those along with normal normal speaking lines as well. I'm intrigued as to know if she edited this or if someone else did it, because if she edited that and put all of those Foley bits in, I'm impressed.
I will note it says video editor Caitlin Dizon, and there's a information.
Okay.
So I will I'll post this up on the chat if anybody's interested in looking into it, or in case you're looking for video editor or audio editor. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good thing though. When you're talking about the grunting and the attack stuff, being able to do that, like, yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have to climb in a window.
I like that one, but no, yeah. I think.
If in my opinion, let me just real quick. In my opinion, if you've got two people in the same scene and you're voicing both of them, you have to put in a distinction. Because I heard two people that were very, very similar, and my brain took a second to figure out who's talking.
Yeah, I agree. That was what I was going to say as well, is like, if you want to feature like multiple voices that you are doing yourself in the same segment, they have to be distinct, and it has to be known that they are two different characters. Because like the little I don't know what they were speaking to, like an animal or a child or something like that, but just the sneezes sounded way too similar to the original voice. I think overall the entire reel was very good. It shows a good amount of range. I like that there was action noises in there. But yeah, if you want multiple characters in there, which I don't personally advise, but to each their own, yeah, they have to be so different that you can tell this is one character, this is another.
Okay, I honestly, just like you said, I would probably cast her. It was really well. It's good. It's a great reel. I'm surprised only 279 views. This person obviously deserves a lot more. This would be one of those gems that you would uncover as you're going through. So, I loved all that information. Hopefully you can check that out. I'm gonna, and I hate to end this in a weird way, but there's one that I kind of wanted to talk about, which is this one. Mr. Emmanuel H. And I will put this up on the screen.
Oh, so this isn't more of a reel, but an impression.
Okay, but here's the thing. Voice demo. This individual actually uses the word voice demo for this particular clip. So here it is.
Okay.
So check and see it. So everybody be ready, because this one would be the one that I would have more words with. Here we go.
Okay.
Damn, they got away! Leave it to me, I'll chase them down.
Damn, they got away! Leave it to me, I'll chase them down.
All right! Now we're talking!
All right! Now we're talking!
How is that?
How was that?
Wow, that's a pretty snazzy performance there.
My, that's a pretty snazzy performance there.
The Arabian Nights really are worlds of endless adventures, aren't they?
The Arabian Nights really are endless worlds of adventures, aren't they?
Cool!
Cool!
Hey, hold up a minute. Girls hate guys who rush them jet.
Hey, hold up a minute. Girls hate guys who rush them jet.
Leave it to me.
Leave it to me.
Hey!
Hey!
Sonic's the name, speed's my game.
Sonic's the name, speed's my game.
Yeah, this is the real me. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, this is the real me. Pretty cool, huh?
You mean like a big old haunted house? This'll be cool. It'll be like Halloween all year long.
You mean like a big old haunted house? This'll be cool. It'll be like Halloween all year long.
Okay. And I'm leaving the tweet up so everybody can see it. So literally says, hey guys, after August of last year, I've decided to finally post my voice demo for Sonic the Hedgehog. This is the voice I think the blue blur should have and blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming that he's talking about somebody's profile. So this popped up as in my search as I was looking for voice reels because it came up as a voice demo. In all honesty,
that's not a demo reel, that's an impression reel. That's not a showing your range. That is, I mean, if someone's looking for someone who could imitate Sonic the Hedgehog, okay, then maybe. But to label it as a demo reel, you're not demonstrating your range. It's not.
It's your ability to copy something, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those kinds of jobs exist. I've done one where I had to mimic Yoda. Brian Hull, for example, is a backup voice for Drac in Hotel Transylvania for if they want the character of Drac, but obviously what's his name isn't going to do the voice.
Didn't he just get cast for the third movie? I think he just got cast for the third movie. Yeah, for the third Hotel Transylvania. So he is now the new voice of that character.
Drac. Yeah.
But they are very few and far between. That's a very niche market.
Yes.
Like it's not. You're not really going to find many jobs that look specifically for that. At least I've not come across many. I don't know about you guys.
I'd be very careful when it comes to calling something your voice demo, your voice reel, because you're putting yourself out there, and this is going to be their impression, especially if you're actually considering wanting to do this professionally. So that's the only reason I wanted to bring this up. Kevin Mason's got. I'm going to go ahead and read this out. Kevin Mason says, I think directors have multiple looks on what a reel should have. I've heard some that want it to be only your best, some who want it to be as a wide range, and some that want more specific reels towards projects. I mean, with some of the things Orange said, I also think that there would be a place for over-characterized in some animation. But yeah, for the most part, I agree that most of what Orange said, I thought more original, but my internet keeps cutting out, and I apologize. And this goes back to the original one. And yes, you're right. But Orange did mention you want to have multiple reels for that. You don't want to throw everything into just one, because if you do, the director's only going to listen to about 10 to 15 seconds. In all honesty, unless they really like what you're doing. So you start off with your best foot. And then you label is for the most part a reel. It was about 75 seconds. You really don't want to go too much further because nobody's really going to listen to it. Raven Main says, I know a person in the New Jersey Community Theater who does something like this in musicals. Rather than sing in their own voice, they more or less mimic whatever the original performer on the cast album did. It becomes very clear what's going on whenever they need to sing something that wasn't on the cast album. And a lot of people that do impressions can get stuck, especially if they have to start venturing out of what the character normally does and still try to apply that particular voice. So I agree.
Right. As far as that video goes, I mean, it like the impersonation was pretty good. I would say if you're looking to be more of an impressionist, You can certainly like mimic what you hear from other lines, but don't ever be afraid to kind of explore options within certain lines. You can maintain the same like tonality in the voice, but just give different inflections on certain words just to kind of change it up a bit. Really will help with that. As far as the title of the video goes, though, it is not a demonstration. That was a clear impersonation, which is fine. I mean, that's people hire people like that all the time, and that's cool and respectable if you can do that. But I wouldn't label it as a voice demo or demo reel, because it is certainly not. And then the last thing I'll say on that is, if you're going to showcase your impersonation, don't start with a chunk of music and end with a chunk of music, because it's not like you had the first 5 to 7 seconds of just music, and I was like, where's the voice? I thought maybe you forgot to include that audio, and like Zamoody was saying, someone is only going to listen to maybe like the first 10-15 seconds of your reel, and if they're not hearing anything right off the get-go, they're just gonna move it to the side and not even bother going back to it. So yeah, if you want it to be more of an impersonation reel, that's fine, but I wouldn't start it off with music, I wouldn't end it with music, and I probably wouldn't even do a side-by-side comparison, just because like if someone's looking for impersonation, they know what the character sounds like. They will be able to analyze whether you sound like that person upon listening to it.
And I mean, probably if they really want it to be an impersonation like reel, then I think perhaps because it was copy paste, and it felt like if you'd given them anything more than just a one-liner, they might have started to slip and struggle with the actual voice. So if they wanted to actually do an impression reel, which by all means, if they want to do that, that's great. Maybe have it more of a natural speaking phrase that the character might say. Even maybe take a few lines from the script, put them together, and turn it into something that sounds like what the character would say, and then do it in the impression that you think sounds closest, to give it more, not only to put them in a more comfortable position if they want to get cast for that sort of role, but also it will just sound more natural and more flowy, and I think would sit better with someone listening. Because the formatting of this is what the person sounds like, this is what I can do, stop start, it's very chunky, and I don't know, it's not as pleasant to listen to as someone's demo reel, which is quite smooth and goes all the way through, sort of thing. So that would be my add-on to that, because I mean, I don't think I've ever actually listened to an impression reel before, so this was my first time listening to one of those.
Right.
Probably why I was a bit confused.
And that's what I meant, like, doing a direct, like side-by-side comparison. That's great if you can mimic that line to a T, but I mean, if you're going to try to be an impressionist or an impersonator, you need to have flexibility. If you're limiting yourself only to those select lines, you're not going to get very far. It will help you in the long run if you can mimic a certain voice, but being able to do it in a casual conversation. Hi, how are you? How are the kids? Practice that type of conversational speak, but with that voice instead, and get very comfortable with it. And that will make you an impersonator or impressionist, whatever you're looking to be. But yeah, if you're just doing side-by-side comparisons or direct copies of lines, you're not really going to go too far, I don't think.
And then maybe as a demo reel, they could have the different paragraphs of different characters, like seemingly flowing into each other in that sort of format of like Sonic. I don't know, other characters that they want to try and emulate, and then put those together and go, this is my demo reel of my impressionist character lot, sort of thing, and go from there. Yeah.
Orange, any thoughts on this one?
Just pretty much what everybody else has said. I mean, labeling it a demonstration reel without specifying that it is an impression reel, or very specifically targeting that, would be helpful. And I agree that having some line for line mimicry followed by showing that you can free voice the character. I mean, for those of us who do accent work, being able to just sort of drop in and out of accent very quickly is a very key skill, especially if they hand you lines, rewrites that then you now have to voice in this accent without having to spend, hours easing yourself into it,
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think with that, we're going to close our VO analyses.
VO analysis complete.
We're missing Pashley. Pashley, hope you're out there. Hope you're doing good. Let's finish up real quick. Kevin Mason's talking. I've gotten cast to mimic characters in the past. Most of you all know I mimic Kermit's voice, and I did so for a few local radio stations. Burnham says the line between mimicry and impression to me is the ability to use the voice for different lines. 100%. Kevin Mason comes back and says, I would have wanted to see him do lines that weren't the lines that already exist. He only copied. Yes. And that back and forth made things so difficult, clunky, as Renara said.
Yeah.
Kind of sets you up for failure because you're listening to the original. Nobody's going to be as good to the original. Even as good as you are at mimicry, as the impression is, the original is the original. You're doing your best to do what you can. So yeah. The entire appeal of a hiring impressionist is I want to hear this character say this specific thing. Yes, 100%.
Right.
Next week I have the reins when it comes to the intro. Hopefully
All right.
cloudy skies will part and I'll come up with something nice.
You can always bat things off us as well if you're ever stuck. Just go, I don't know what to do, and we'll help. We'll help jog those creative wheels.
Read to the rescue.
Yes. I may take you all up on that. We'll see what happens between now and then. Well, so up to our upcoming week, if you have any questions or if you have any ideas for topics, you can email us coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. coldreadthepodcast@gmail.com. You can listen to us anywhere where you can find your podcast. This will be up tomorrow by Monday at this time, just to comply with Twitch's rules. And until then, I will definitely say, make sure that you are putting yourself out there. Make sure that you're doing what you want to do, but only do it because you want to.
Yeah.
Not because you feel like you have to.
But never give up. Never give up on it. Even if you have to take some time, don't give up. Come back to it and keep going. Make more stuff. Never stop. Dream big. Yep.
I'll get you next time, Cold Read Podcast. Next time.
Beautiful.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Drink water. Do it.